Okay, so I know this video is probably going to be a little late, but I guess, whatever. I kind of wanted to get my thoughts together and stuff for this anyways, so yeah, I guess whatever. I guess I'll start talking about the doll itself because that's kind of the main whatever, and then I also kind of wanted to talk about some other stuff too that has to do with this, but I'm going to talk about the doll mainly first. And yeah, when this doll got like announced and they were like, oh, we're gonna do a RuPaul thing and it's gonna be like dragon themed and whatever. And it was like, oh hey, Monster High dragon themed doll, that sounds cool. They're gonna make this Skeletor kind of doll be like dragon themed. So I was like, oh, they're gonna turn RuPaul into a dragon for Monster High because Monster High is supposed to be like literal like monsters and stuff. So I was like, oh, it's probably gonna be like RuPaul turned into an actual dragon, kind of like what they did with like Lady Gaga, where they turned her into a zombie. And so I guess, she's supposed to be like a literal zombie kind of thing. Um, I don't think Zombie Gaga is supposed to be Lady Gaga dressed as a zombie, is it? Like, I'm pretty sure all of us are kind of like, it's supposed to be Lady Gaga as a literal zombie, right? So it's kind of like, why did they go with this thing of it's basically just a normal person dressed as a dragon. Like, I'm pretty sure the Lady Gaga one was supposed to be like Lady Gaga as a zombie, but then with this one, they just made it so it looks like a normal person dressed as a dragon. And, like, yeah, it looks kind of cool and whatever, but at the same time, I feel like for Monster High, it's like it should be like a literal dragon person. So I'm like, I'm a little confused, but like for the context of drag and drag queens and stuff. Like, the whole point of drag is to dress up as, like, whatever and, like, be hyper feminine and whatever. Like, usually for drag, it's like, usually people are like, oh, I'm gonna dress up as something I'm not. So, like, drag queens are usually men dressed up hyper feminine, and then drag kings are usually women dressed up hyper masculine. But like, I feel like, drag queens could still be women and then dressed up hyper feminine, and then drag kings could still be men dressed up hyper masculine. And you're playing a character that's not you. That's like the whole point of drag, anyways. But so I feel like anyone could be drag king or drag queen, but usually drag queens are men dressed up, and then usually drag kings are women dressed up, but I feel like anyone can do that. I'm gonna get into that more later too for the second part of this video, but yeah, so like I get for the Monster High doll, like I guess it being a normal person dressed up as a dragon, and it's like, oh, it's someone dressing up as something that they aren't, and it's like kind of exaggerated and whatever, and there's a lot that goes into it and it's intricate and whatever. So I guess for the drag part of it, like it's supposed to be dragon queen, drag queen, it's a pun on words there. But I still feel like it looked like a lot of people also thought of it being, you know, RuPaul as like a literal dragon person and not just drag dragon, you know? So it looked like a lot of people were kind of confused by that. But I guess for the drag aspect of it, because it is based off of a drag queen, then they went the more drag route, I guess. But I feel like Monster High, like, it should have been a literal dragon person. I don't know. Like Jennifer Long is a dragon person, and then I don't know. It's just it was a little weird to like, you know, when we heard about it and then it's like, oh, they're gonna make a dragon person, but then it's literally just a person in a costume. It was a little confusing. Like, why Monster High is supposed to be monsters, not people in costumes, right? So, I feel like a lot of people were confused because of that. But yeah, anyways, also, I'm gonna go on to my next thing because I feel like I'm just gonna repeat myself if I keep talking about that. When the whole whatever about this doll came out, and then we started seeing more of her and whatever, I did also see people being like, oh, why would you pick someone who said transphobic stuff in the past? And I was like, did RuPaul actually say transphobic stuff, or are people like whatever? And so I did look it up, and yeah, RuPaul did say some stuff that was kind of, you know, not great towards trans people. And I also feel like it's like kind of shitty towards cis women too, because RuPaul was like, oh, I don't think trans women should be drag queens because they're women or whatever, and or like after transitioning, trans women shouldn't be drag queens, and it was just like, what? And I think RuPaul did maybe, I think they apologized, but I'm not really sure because I feel like maybe I feel like I saw some stuff about maybe RuPaul apologizing, but at the same time, I'm like, did did he apologize? I don't know, because I did read some other stuff where I don't think they mentioned anything about apologizing, but I feel like I did see some other stuff about RuPaul apologizing, so I don't know, but um, yeah, so just like, and the reasoning was like, RuPaul was like, oh, it takes away the meaning of drag king. It's like, it's supposed to be men feminizing themselves. It's like dangerous to do so because, a lot of people are shitty towards feminine men or any men who feminize themselves in any way, shape, or form. And they're like, the toxic masculinity shit, which I get that part, but at the same time, trying to gatekeep drag to be only a specific group of people is kind of just not that great, you know? And, there have been trans people on RuPaul's Drag Race. There's been, I think, multiple. There's been at least more than one or two, I think. I haven't watched RuPaul's Drag Race before, so I don't really whatever. But yeah, also I get like since I never watched it before, then the doll isn't really for me, so me being whatever about the doll, I'm, probably not gonna get it anyways because I never watched the show before, so I don't really have any attachment to it, but at the same time, I'm still just like was confused, and like so many other people were confused about it. Yeah, but yeah, so I don't know. I just like RuPaul saying that trans women can't be drag queens, especially after transitioning, is kind of just like, what the fuck? Why would you say that? And then it's also kind of like you're just gonna also exclude cis women too because they were born with the feminine stuff and biological characteristics and stuff. So it's kind of like women in general, trans or cis or intersex, anything like trans women, cis women, intersex women, like they should all be able to be drag kings or drag kings, like drag queens, drag queen kings. Like, did I don't know. I feel like I'm getting tongue tied there. But like, all women should be able to be drag queens or drag kings if they want to, whatever. And then same goes for all types of men. trans men, cis men, intersex men, they should all be able to be, you know, drag queens or drag kings. Like, you're literally just playing a character and exaggerating yourself. Like, I feel like that's kind of the point of drag. But, I mean, I'm not a drag person myself. I don't whatever with drag anything. Like, I'm not in any drag spaces. I don't really whatever, but I feel like it's kind of stupid to gatekeep it and be like, oh, you're a woman, you can't be a drag queen. Like, that's what? Also, are you gonna exclude trans men from being drag queens too? Because most trans men are born with whatever stuff that you don't have. So you have, like, drag queens usually wear, like, silicone boobs and stuff, or whatever I don't remember what the other ones are called. I don't think all of them are silicone. I think some of them are, like, more squishy, whatever kind. Um, but like drag queens usually have to wear fake boobs in order to give the appearance that they do have boobs. But then, like, for trans men, if a trans man hasn't had top surgery yet, then, like, are you going to exclude a trans man from being a drag queen? Like, you know, how, like, you're targeting trans women here, but there's also other people who also are whatever that you might be excluding too. You're probably, you're targeting trans women with this statement, but then what about cis women? What about trans men? What about non-binary people? What about gender fluid people? What about agender fluid people or agender people? I keep getting words mixed up because I'm trying to talk too fast. And then, what about intersex people? It's like what you're saying here about this group of people. What about this other group of people? Like, you're saying this about this group, but what about the other group? Like, you're targeting one group, but it also could apply to another group, and you're just gonna try to, I don't know, exclude more than just one group of people here. Like, I don't know. It's a little, like, I don't know, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about this for whatever and kind of get some thoughts out there, and then, what do you guys think about this whole thing? I'm kind of just like, you know, Monster High is supposed to be about monsters, not people in costumes. I was a little confused about this doll, but then also this doll is based off of someone who said transphobic stuff in the past, and that's a little, what the heck? Like, and I did see other people responding to people talking about this, and they were like, oh, we finally got, a person of color with textured hair as a doll. It's like, yes, that's great, but at the same time, they still said transphobic stuff in the past. So, like, I do want more, dolls who are not white. you know, I love seeing dolls where it's, they're Asian or brown or black or whatever, someone who's a person of color. Like, I do love seeing that, but I also love when they take it a step further and give a character like textured hair. And I do think with dolls it might be, I don't know, is it hard to make dolls have textured hair? Like, I don't know the whole process it is for it, cause so, like, I don't know how hard it is to do that, but I do like seeing dolls who have textured hair. But I also am just like, the fact that the doll is based off of someone who said transphobic stuff, I'm just like, I don't know. And like, in the past I was thinking about maybe watching RuPaul's Drag Race, but then, like, the fact that RuPaul said transphobic stuff in the past, I'm like, do I want to watch it then? Like, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this in a video and kind of put whatever out there. So, yeah, I don't know, but whatever, I guess. Anyways, I guess that's kind of it. So, yeah, I guess by then.
Monsters, monsters, yes we are. Hey, Vegas got me falling apart. Dracula stealing my heart. Claudine Wolfie make me holler at the moon. You're a finest fish in this lagoon. Clear the now, you so beguiled. Even though you act so vile. And Deuce has stone cold style. These are my boobs, my skeleton crew. A little strange, but so are you. Don't you wanna be a monster too?